All right, back live tonight. You're in Focus. News 24 is reporting that Abantu Batho Congress is planning to dump the African National Congress as a coalition partner in eThekwini, and the Umvoti local municipality also follows the ABC's criticism of the ANC after a mic-grabbing incident involving the ANC's Siboniso Duma and the AmaZulu traditional Prime Minister Thulasizwe Buthelezi. ABC President Philani Mavundla joins us now for more on that. Good to have you, sir. Thank you very much for coming on this evening. It seems to the eye that the issue of the ANC and the ABC would have started from your ousting in the eThekwini municipality and has not quite been sorted out, this exchange. Others have even said that ever since you lost the case and were ousted in eThekwini as the deputy mayor and subsequently left as a councillor, you've been working to get the ANC out of that municipality.
Good evening to you as well as the listeners. The truth of the matter is that the senior leadership of the APC sat and took a decision that the fight between Mr. Mapiano and Nkolis Kaunda, who is the mayor of the ANC in the eThekwini Metro, the only metro that the ANC is leading, has absolutely nothing to do with the Abantu Batho Congress and the agreement that was reached in November 2021 between the ANC and the APC. Therefore, the APC will still support the ANC eThekwini regardless of the fallout between the president of the APC as well as the mayor of the ANC, Nkolis Kaunda, Mr. Mapiano. Therefore, the APC has been constantly supporting the ANC even after I was kicked out, because as far as the leadership of the ANC, of the APC was concerned, it was an issue between the two personalities that had absolutely nothing to do with the politics or the political parties of ANC and APC. That is why APC stood firm to support Kaunda when the motion of no confidence was put in the front for him to be removed. That is why when the motion of no confidence to the Speaker of the ANC in eThekwini was put, the APC voted against not supporting it, because APC believed that the relationship between APC and the ANC had absolutely nothing to do with individuals. Now, I'm putting this just to clarify that there's no way that Mavundla could have been there to work against the ending the relationship between APC and the ANC. Because the relationship between the ANC and APC, it is between APC and the ANC, not Mavundla and Kaunda or any other individual.
Right.
I'm just clarifying that.
So now with that in mind, then, let's look at this current response with the two motions of no confidence. I think that you have brought forward. It should, if I'm correct, against the mayor and against the speaker. Is that in direct response to the ANC and the IFP in Umvoti bringing similar motions against the chief whip and I think against yourself?
Okay, let's correct that. Although you're being privy now, getting the information that not so many people are aware of. There is a motion that has been submitted in eThekwini Metro, and the APC has supported this motion. This motion, it is to bring a vote of no confidence to the entire EXCO, Executive Committee of eThekwini, as well as bringing the motion to the whip of eThekwini Council. That motion was submitted last week. It is due to be tabled in what is called Speakers Forum. It was due to be tabled today. I haven't heard what has happened. But that motion on the 25th of April will bring about the dissolvement of the EXCO of eThekwini. Now, once that happens, it means then there need to be new EXCO members. Once you put new EXCO members, it also then by implication means you then need to bring in about the new mayor, the deputy mayor, and the new chairpersons of the 5 committees that exist, which happen to be committees of EXCO. Now, that is what has happened first. But then what then has happened following that is that there are 3 motions that has been then submitted in Umvoti, where I happen to be a mayor in the coalition between the ANC and the APC, which is a party which I happen to be an ordinary member of, and by implication a president of. Now, those 3 motions that have been brought about, they're seeking to remove me as a mayor of Umvoti, as well as our national chairperson, Honorable Mr. Mfundo Masondo. Those are the 2 motions that are there.
Yeah.
Now, these motions obviously need to be tabled in the council that will sit at the end of April. That came about because of the fact that when APC declared its position that it wants an independent Zulu state in South Africa. As you will know, Mzulu, that Zulus in South Africa, we are totaling about 16 million. And during the time of Ilembe, Ushaka, Zulu was an independent state on its own. But it so happened that in 1910, there was a union that was formed between the British and the Dutch. That is how South Africa came about. Now, those who believe that the Dutch and the English, they did well to create the Union of South Africa, which later became South Africa, they are so hell-bent that they want to keep it and honor it for their masters. The secretary of the NC, the Honorable Mr. Mtolo in KZN, had a go at me and APC that if we're saying AmaZulu need to stand on their own and become an instant independent state, Mr. Mtolo, this is on record, pronounce in Indonza that Indonza is a group is a WhatsApp group of the thinkers, of the think tankers of KwaZulu-Natal. They are professors, they are politicians, but there are even people from outside KwaZulu-Natal, but the people that we respect, the like of your Keniknen and so on and so on. Now, he pronounced that if APC is saying that KwaZulu must come out of South Africa, this is very tribalistic thinking, and if this happen indeed, he will also declare that Mzimkhulu must be out of South Africa so that he can be a president of Mzimkhulu, who should become the Batra state. The leadership of APC felt that Mr. Mtolo nullifies the bigger thinking of the fact that when Ilembe unified us as AmaZulu, he had a very clear vision of what he wanted to see.
Yeah.
But Umtolo, the way he explained it, it was very childish, but I understand because he's not Umzulu.
So it's said then that you had a fallout. In fact, some screenshots were grabbed of that conversation and the fallout between yourself and Mr. Mtolo, who we've asked, by the way, he says he'll come and respond tomorrow. You even questioned whether his appointment as a Secretary General of the ANC in the province was a wise one, in a sense, for him raising this question of the non-sustainability of a Zulu state. Could that have been the final breaking point in your relationship with the ANC?
No, let me explain this. Unfortunately, we have a very limited time. The problem that we have in this country is that I'll be lucky enough to go to school and learn or study something, and I'll graduate to be the leader of the student movement, and from there I'll go to the youth league. I'll lead the youth league, And from there, I'll convince myself that I need to grow up into the mother body. And by sheer luck, that will happen. And I will happen to lead people like yourself and everybody else. And I'll be convinced that I'm the leader. But in my entire life, there's never been an opportunity of me being led by somebody and realize how it is to be led or even to be managed for that matter. Now, we are faced with a situation where you have leaders who from school and up to where they are today, they never work anywhere, they never managed anything. The only thing that they've successfully managed is the political affairs of their political organization.
So you were explaining the question of a person who's never been led but has occupied leadership positions within the political organization at the highest level, now having to face a possibility of being led. I'm asking that because I was connecting it to the fallout that would have happened on the Indonesi WhatsApp group around the formation of a Zulu State between yourself and the provincial secretary of the African National Congress, Begim Tolo, who we've asked, by the way, to come and respond, and he has agreed to come and respond to some of the issues that you will raise tonight. So was that a pivotal point, I suppose, in the breakdown in relationship?
Well, Mdluli, the issue I was trying to raise, because I want the nation to understand this. You've got a number of leaders who are leading this country now. If you ask them, me and you will understand. Umuntu okuthiwa induna. What does that mean in the surrounding where you are employed? Or someone who is called a supervisor. You have someone who never been supervised by anyone, and all of a suddenly, they happen to be in a position to lead us. They've never been led by anyone. They don't know how it is to be led, but they happen to be leading us. Now, they truly believe that they need to lead us where it is dark or blue, and they will happen to lead us astray. Now, Umtolo happened to comment on the ABC policy position to say, Zulu need to be independent as it was during the time of Shaka. And he decided to comment in Indonza that if that happened, he will go and become a president of Umzimkhulu, which will then become a Baka state. We don't want to question Umtolo's level of his own IQ. We leave it as is for those who are coming from wherever he is, or those who are believing he is their leaders to decide on it. But what we are saying is, our issue is bigger than that. It's not a tribalist approach. We are not saying amaXhosa, abapeti, abasuthu, abahlala kwaZulu, they must go. We are saying, as a state of AmaZulu, whether you are a Swati or you are whatever, you need to comply with the way you want things to happen. And I've even given an example that a Swatini, whether you're an Indian, you are white, you are whatever you are, or you are Chinese, once you obtain the citizenship of the Swazi, of the Swatini, you become a Swazi, regardless of what you look like. Yeah. Now Mtolo seems to take this as just as a simple thing. This is what we are saying, that is that AmaZulu, we are 16 million, you have 16 million Zulus in South Africa. It can't be correct to which then one will take us for granted and say, no, we need to be subjects of so and so. That can't be correct. Yeah. Botswana has got 2.2 million people. There are more cows in Botswana than people. And the Botswana are the Botswanas. Nobody say they are tribalists. Yeah. AmaSwati, there are 1.2 million. Nobody says they are tribalists. But because the South Africans, or the so-called South Africans, believe that what Abelungu formed in 1910 when they formed the union is the way to go. They are so hell-bent. That is how we need to remain. And the APC is turning around and saying, the natives now, kingdoms, need to stand up and declare what is rightfully theirs. Hence, we are saying, AmaZulu, Nabesuthu Free State, where we are contesting this coming election, need to go out and say, we are voting to become our own as we were before the oppressors in 1652. That is where we are.
One would say there's a similar position that the Cape Independence is also known for, pushing for the independence of the Western Cape province from South Africa. However, the hurdle that they come across is that we are a constitutional democracy that has chosen that this is how we are going to be governed. We're going to be governed by a constitution. We're going to be one nation with various provinces. How do you plan to get around that?
Surely that is very easy. Unfortunately, the position, or fortunately in fact, the position of APC is different from the ANC. During CODESA, you only have the politician discussing the issue that including land. But let me tell you, my king, King Zwelithini, was not there. The king of the Xhosas was not invited. The king of the Balobedus, the Opedus, the Vendas, the Swazis, they were not invited. So, the constitution you're referring to, we actually don't know is a constitution of whom. We don't know the current president of South Africa was very much big part and parcel of that, as well as Rufumea and so many others of that constitution. But my king, King Zwelithini, was alive, but he was not invited during the CODESA. Now let's come to what now we are talking as we speak right now. The truth of the matter, the very same constitution that we're talking about, Chapter 14 of the South African Constitution is very clear on the self-determination. Hence, you have the Orania today. Interestingly enough, Mr. Mtolo and his cronies or his comrade in the ANC, they never pronounce anything when the Afrikaner decided to form the Orania. But when the APC speaks of the Zulu State, then they happen to have a problem. Now, we are then saying as APC, if we don't get the total independent, the South African Constitution under the Chapter 14 still guarantees us a right to self-determination. You have mentioned about the Cape Independent. I'm just hoping that the Khoisan will stand up and fight for what is theirs in the Cape. We're not going to get involved in issues that we are not very clear about. However, the issue of KwaZulu as well as the Free State, which is the province that we are contesting, we are saying the entire Free State belongs to AmaZulu, it belongs to Isilo Umshwesh. The fact that we've got a place that we so-called Lesotho is incorrect because the entire Free State and Lesotho belongs to Umshweshwe. Free State doesn't belong to South Africa, it belongs to Lesotho. That is where it belongs, and that is our position.
I'm going to bring you back and we're going to discuss that a little bit further because, of course, there are other implications. Despite that constitutional provision for self-determination, there are ambiguities and questions, for example, around the risk of military interventions, economic implications, and so on and so forth. And maybe we can talk about that a little bit more. But let's stick to this now. So you are also a KZN a premier candidate. Tell me about that strategy as opposed to you being a president of the country.
Well, you'll notice that we are very clear. We are not confused. There is no ambiguity in the way that we think and the way we process things. That's one way we are wired as APC. We don't have a presidential candidate because if we subscribe to the fact that AmaZulu have the king, Isilo, which, as we speak right now, is Isilo Mrs. Zwelithini, then we can't have a president. There is no country that has people that can think forward, that will have a president and still have the kings. In South Africa, we have the South African president because the truth of the matter is that ANC doesn't recognize our leaders, our kings, and our queendoms. Now, I'm then contesting this province, which we want it to be a country on its own, as a premier, because then I'll be saving His Majesty the King. That's it. And I can't be president when there is a king. The fact that you have someone who is so-called the president, and then you have 9 kingdoms and 1 queendom, it tells you straight that the ANC rule doesn't recognize our traditional leaders. That is what it is, and it's simple that way. There is no other way to explain it.
Yeah. So others would link that view that you've just expressed now, that the ANC does not respect traditional leadership, to the Mike incident, to the Begintolo debate on the Indonesi WhatsApp group, to saying part of why you are serving them divorce papers is because you are actually quite aggrieved by the act of Siboniso Duma and how they disrespected the Prime Minister of the Zulu nation.
Well, first of all, let's tell the fact, because, you know, I'm old enough. At the age of 56, I'm only left to tell the truth. If I'm still lying to this day, I'll die with a whole lot of sins wrapped up around my body. I'm the private advisor to the sitting king of the mighty Zulu nation. It can never be correct. In fact, my ancestors will stop me even to get closer to them if I say it is correct for a very young man, which is happened to be Duma and the leader of the ANC in the province, to stand up and grab the mic from the traditional Prime Minister of AmaZulu, Ushenge. Whether I like the IFP or I don't like the IFP, once the king of the Zulus, that is if I'm a Zulu, has pronounced or announced that Undunankulu Buthelezi, Thulasizwe Buthelezi, is the traditional Prime Minister of AmaZulu. And I'll still question that, and even go to say the Constitution of South Africa doesn't have a provision for a Zulu Prime Minister. I can only pronounce that if I'm not a Zulu, or if I'm disowning the fact that there is such a nation called AmaZulu. I will then understand what Umtolo as well as Duma are saying, because I'm coming from the ANC, but the truth of the matter is that when the ANC was formed, we now know it had absolutely nothing to do with bringing back the land to the natives, but it had more to do with the elite of the time, as well as the ANC becoming a mouthpiece between the traditional leaders and then the Queen. That's how it is going. Look, and what it was there to represent. Look at their very, very first constitution. That will give you the clarity of how they came about. Now, I'm not surprised if they make such pronouncement that they're sticking to their original idea why the ANC was formed in the first place.
Let's leave it there for now. I appreciate your time. I'll have you back for a much longer conversation in the coming days. That is the president of Abantu Batho Congress. That's Philani Mavundla.